නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස යම් භික්ඛවේ සදේවකස්ස ලෝකස්ස සමාරකස්ස සබ්‍රහ්මකස්ස සස්සමන බ්‍රාහ්මනියා පජාය සදේව මනුස්සාය දිත්තං සුතං මුතං විඤ්ඤාතං පත්තං පරියේසිතං අනුවිචරතං මනසා තමහං ජානාමි තමහං අබ්බඤ්ඤාසින් තං තථාගතස්ස විදිතං තීති. Dear venerable brother, Dhamma friends, so we have taken Kalakarama Sutta for discussion. In this series, actually we may have to spend several months to discuss this. And basically, as we all discussed yesterday, Kalakarama Sutta has a very beautiful history, how it has happened during the Buddha's time. Probably if I just give you a brief summary about the history, probably you can remember that I explained how Chula Subhadra went to another city because she was married to another person, and that particular landlord, he invited the naked ascetics, and Chula Subhadra was not happy about it, and then she challenged to the situation, and then she being challenged by the father-in-law, and then she invites Buddha and the Sangha to the dana, and then they approach, and then Buddha delivers Dhamma, and the father-in-law, the Kalaka, so he ultimately became a stream winner, and he offered the area, the garden, and prepared the monastery and offered to the Buddha, and it is called Kalakarama. So the area, the temple offered by the merchant called Kalaka is called Kalakarama. And one occasion the monks were discussing about what has happened, how Buddha has completely convinced these people who were completely into wrong faiths, didn't have any faith towards the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, how Buddha was able to convert them in a way, establish faith towards the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and not only that, many even gone forth, including ourselves. Now those monks are talking, so they are coming from the same area, so they too, after hearing Dhamma from the Buddha, and they were quite confident, faithful, and they became monks, and they were quite appreciating what has happened and what has done by the Buddha, and how all of them were benefited, and they were talking about it. And at that moment Buddha arrived the place, and he asked monks, what were you discussing before my arrival? And then they mentioned that we were talking about yourself, how sublime qualities the Buddha has. And then Buddha decided to discuss or deliver a preaching based on this Kalakarama Sutta. So according to the commentary, there are 5 areas particularly discussed in this sutta. So one is related to the omniscience of the Buddha, the plane of omniscience, sarvajñata bhumi, sabbanyuta bhumi. So the omniscient potential have in the Buddha. That is one area. The second is related to the complete eradication of the defilements, what we call as the Shinasrava. All the fetters are abandoned, uprooted, called Shinasrava bhumi. Third one is called Satcha bhumi, how strongly factual, how strongly truthful the Buddha is and his teaching is. Then the fourth one is called Sunyata bhumi, talking some deeper aspects of emptiness. And then last is the Thadi bhumi, where he is talking about the unwavering capacity of an arahant, the total stability in an arahant. Now all these things are very, very deep areas and very concisely explained in this sutta. So this sutta is not a long discourse. It's a very short discourse available in the Anguttara Nikaya that is the numerical discourses, where the 4 factors are listed. It's not a really long one, but the content is so profound and it takes long time to understand it. So very, very concise. Actually, this concise nature is in a way one factor or one characteristics of certain teachings delivered by the Buddha, particularly in his say early 20 years. If you remember that there are certain suttas like Purabheda Sutta, like those things, particularly in the Sutta Nipata, very, very deep, and sometimes they were delivered using the verses, very short, and the audience quickly attain maybe Arahantship, maybe Sakadagami, Anagami. So the audience is very, in a way, fairly wise. So when such a wise audience is there, Buddha didn't have to explain in detail. He gave a fairly profound explanation, very short. After hearing it, the audience quickly attain Nibbana. So likewise, some characteristics are there, particularly when the early Buddhist teachings are concerned, particularly before basically the first 20 years of the Buddha, and he didn't have to even put a lot of say precepts, rules and regulations to the monks, because everybody are so faithful and they are very loyal, and so the Buddha also didn't have to put a lot of restrictions, any precepts. But later, as the monks' order grown to a higher extent, then many others also get into the picture, and they also ordain, and they start doing various other misconduct. And now slowly, Buddha has to put a lot of precepts, rules, regulations, and unfortunately you can see the amount of or the number of arahants also start decaying. Even though the order is very large now, comparatively the attainments are reducing. But from the Buddha's early, say 20 years, 30 years, attainments are fairly high with less rules. Because it indicates that as the order is growing, so not only that people with a lot of faith and lot of confidence and dedication they ordain, but many others also ordain due to various other reasons. Anyway, now this Kalakarama Sutta seems that he is delivering to a group of monks who are fairly wise, with good intellect, and after hearing that, 60 of them attain arahantship. And so now we are going through this Kalakarama Sutta little by little. And yesterday actually we discussed some other historical events happened in Sri Lanka and again in Greece. Because in Sri Lanka the same sutta was explained by Venerable Kalabuddharakkita during the King Saddhatissa's time. And again the same sutta was delivered by Venerable Maharakkita, who was sent to Greece, the Yonika Padesa, during those days, Alexandria, by King Asoka. Like King Asoka sent Venerable Mahinda to Sri Lanka, he sent Venerable Maharakkita to Yonaka, on those days the Greece, Egypt, and there he delivered this Kalakarama Sutta. Those we discussed yesterday. Now let's get into the content of the sutta now. And it starts like this. Yambikave sadevakassa lokassa samarakassa sabrahmakassa sassamana brahmaniya pajaya sadeva manussaya dittang sutang mutang minyatam pattam pariyesitang anuvicharitam manasa tamahang janami. So basically mentioned, so this whole world consisting of different types of people. Sadevakassa lokassa. Now this world has many devas. The world with devas, we can say. Samarakassa, it has the Maras. Sabrahmakassa, it has the Brahmas. Sassamana Brahmaniya Pajaya Sadeva Manusaya. Now including different groups of humans. So among the humans there are ascetics, there are kings, and typical folk, and all that consists the whole different worlds actually. I mean the population. Either the Brahma realm, the human realm, the heavenly realms, everything is now very much included in this explanation. And any of them, the tongue, if they see something, sutang, heard something, mutang, through the nose they recognize something, through the tongue they tasted something, through the body they contacted something, mutang, vinyatang. So there is an idea coming to their mind, then pattang. So they have reached to a certain conclusion by reflecting. Pattang, pariyesitang. They do some inner analysis, little exploration, and they come to a conclusion. Anuvicharitam manasa. Kind of reasoning, logical thinking and all that. Some contemplation done through the mind, and then they learn something, they get to know something. All that, tamahan janami, I know. Now, on the other hand, now there are interesting points related to the omniscience. You know, the sarvajñata jnana, omniscience. So, during the Buddha's time, actually certain ascetics, actually they claim omniscience, telling, while walking, sitting, lying down, while doing all other activities, every time I know everything. Every time I know everything. So, but Buddha denied it. Now, telling that at any time I know everything is something that Buddha denied. So such, that Shastrastavaru, the 6 different kinds of teachers were there during comparative, teachers, contemplative teachers in those days, contemporary teachers those days, and some of them actually claimed they also have this omniscience, telling that every time I know everything. And Buddha denied it, and he said it is not the point. He said the Tathagata, the Buddha, when he needs to know something, it is known. There is no any hindrance, or there is no any obstacle for his vision. Now, say for example, he wants to know someone's mind. Immediately it's been known. Say he wants to know another world system. Immediately he can know it. Say he wants to know something happening in another place. He can immediately know that. He wants to read someone's mind. Immediately he can read it. So likewise, it indicates that he has an intention to know. If he intentionally put an attention to a particular area, that area is visible to him. So nothing is hidden to him. That's why it is called sometimes anavarana jnana. Anavarana jnana indicates that nothing is closed, nothing is hidden, nothing is covered. Whenever he is paying attention, if he requires something to know, it is known. So this is how the Sarvajñata jnana, the omniscience knowledge of the Buddha, is defined. It is not that Buddha claiming that I know everything, every time, every day. It is not the way that he is putting it. But in a more decent way, he is telling, okay, I can know anything when I want. Anything, by the way. Whatever thing, if I want to know, I can know. There is no hindrance, there is no barrier, there is no cover. I can open it like in my hand. A kind of typical simile given, like when you have something on your palm top, you can see. Like that, everything is open to me. When I want to know. But if I don't want, nothing, not necessary. It's not being bothered by everything. Now say for example, you are being bombarded by all the information every time, every day, every moment, then you will become almost crazy because so many things are there for you to know, and every time you know everything, so unbearable. But Buddha didn't claim like that. He simply say, if I want to know anything, it's known to me. Nothing is hidden, nothing is covered, nothing is unknown. Whenever I want to know anything, I can know it. Now, this is one area that I need to clear. The other thing is how people know things. How people know things. Now, this actually has to be discussed from different angles. Actually, Buddha has given a fairly comprehensive analysis of this in the very first sutta of the Majjhima Nikaya. It is called Mula Pariyaya Sutta. He is talking about the root cause of everything. The root cause of everything. And he starts with the mundane person, uninstructed worldling. The so-called putujjana, untaught ordinary person. Ida bhikkave asutava putujjano, ariyanang adassavi, ariya dhammas akovido, ariya dhamme avinito, sappurisanang adassavi, sappurisa dhammas akovido, sappurisa dhamme avinito. Now some interesting explanations are there. Now who is that uninstructed, untaught, ordinary person? He is ariyanang adassavi. He has never, say, come closer to a noble person. And ariya dhammas akovido, and he is not skilled in the noble's teaching, their practice. Ariya dhammas akovido, ariya dhamme avinito. He hasn't disciplined himself in the noble's teaching. And now we need to understand, okay, we also like that, assume that, say, you are simply born to this world. In case, if you are already born as a Sotapanna, that's a different story, but very unlikely. So assume that you are born as a typical being, right? So some people sometimes claim, okay, I am a born Sotapanna. Jati Sotapanna, that's another interesting claim sometimes people claim to them. But typically people are born as a Putujjana. So that's why they are born to this sensual realm. So the kind of a foolish person. So assume now they are being introduced to the world by their parents. Now you are just an infant, just crying, and say father is trying to fondle you, not successful, and now mother is arriving and you are showing, father is showing, you see her, she is mother, she is mother. So you are known to mother. This is my mother, she is my mother. Mother is there. Mother is feeding you, fondling you, tapping you, touching you, bathing you, all that is happening. She is my mother. Now father also get to know, okay, he is taking some items, some food and, some toys, and he loves you. He is my father. And time to time, the neighbors also coming. And once you are born, they may have come with some soap and all, baby cream. Maybe your relatives also come with some baby cream and some toys. And you get to know, this is my uncle, this is my auntie, this is my so-and-so. Little by little, you are introduced to many people, right? So you have now a mother, you have a father, you have your elder brother, someone, maybe your younger, maybe sister, a neighbor, uncle, auntie. So some other people are also known to you now. Now you are growing, say 1 year old, 2 years old. Now you start playing with others, and now other people are little by little you are known to some others. Now you probably have few friends, and say now you are given a name. What's the name would you like to give? Say Kamal. Okay, he's Kamal. Let's take a male person. He's Kamal. Now Kamal has a friend called Nimal. And now Kamal is introduced to a kindergarten. Now he is going to kindergarten. Slowly he is introduced to different colors. Okay, this is color green, this is red. So different colors are introduced to that young kid. And when the register being marked, so the teacher is asking, Kamal, are you present? Oh, now you are putting your hand, yes, I am present. Who is present? Kamal. You have the name and you are now Kamal. You became the Kamal, right? And slowly now you assume that you are going to the school now. So some more information is introduced to you. And you start writing letters. Maybe Sinhala, maybe English, writing letters. And using the letters, now you can prepare words. And words has meanings. And slowly you are introduced to different meanings, okay? Say, different little booklets are there. So you need to go to your very young age. So I am taking you from young age. So you need to go to that level and recognize, remember, how you are learned, how you are introduced to this world. Now you know different colors, now you know different objects. Okay, this is the pen, this is the book, this is the bat, this is the ball, this is the grape, this is the orange, this is the letter A, this is the letter B, this is the letter C, A, B, C, and you are now learning how to pronounce it. And with the help of teacher, you are writing them, and now you know the complete alphabet. Now you are introduced to different words. Okay, mother, father, and you know how to write mother now. And now mother is coming to pick you. Okay, mother, I have written your name. See, beautiful. Mother, I have written it. So this is how we learn, right? Everybody agreed? Have you learned like that? Now slowly, you are introduced to other grades. You are now promoted to the other grades as you are growing. You are going to the now in Sri Lanka, the 4th grade, right? Scholarship. And all that information, that little bit more information now talking about Sri Lanka, the different districts, and some information about the rivers, mountains, how to add things, subtract things, multiply, all that you are learning. And now you have good friends, now you have toys and your hobbies, this and that. You are now further advancing your education. Now you are coming to the ordinary level. Now you are learning more about the other countries, some other more information. And say, you are now in the A levels, advanced levels, and you are learning many other subjects, some deeper subjects, say physics, chemistry, mathematics, applied mathematics, this and that. Now you are slowly growing. Okay, now let's take from that point. Now say you are coming home after participating into a tuition class. So you are coming back home. And when you get down from the bus, now you are entering your house. And among many other houses, you can simply know, this is my house. Because many other houses are there on the road. And you get down and now you can recognize, this is my house. My house. This is my house. And say you are get in the house. Now I am getting in the house. And now I am inside the house. And this is my house. And say next day morning, say you are going to the college, I am going out of the house. And you can talk about my house. And say you can tell your friends, okay, my house being sold. They have taken my house. I don't have my house now. Now, with respect to house and yourself, how are you talking? So we have certain grammar to talk about it, right? So we are having certain grammar, certain vibhakti. What's the English term for vibhakti? Vibhakti, can you remember? Say present tense, past tense, and then the singular, plural, and then different vibhakti. The English term I can't remember. Can't remember. Now say to tell you, so I am in the house, I am away from the house, this is my house, and they have taken my house. So this denotes different meanings, right? So it is my house, I am away from my house, this is my house. So likewise, at different occasions, we are relating to the house differently. Sometimes you are talking about the possession, and sometimes you are talking about the being away from it. Sometimes you are talking about inside it. So likewise, in order to represent that grammatically, we have different vibhakti. That's a beautiful term in English. No, not adjective. Prepositions, maybe. I can't remember it. Different vibhakti are there. In the Pali, different, say, puriso, purisa, purisam, purise, like that, different from singular to the plural, and different these vibhaktis, patama vibhakti, dutiya vibhakti, tatiya vibhakti, chatutha vibhakti. So like that, different things are there. This denominative, something, those things are kind of, can't remember. I thought that you all know English. Okay. So different vibhakti are there. So we are using those grammar to have a relationship, how to talk about it. So when you are seeing the house, you can say, this is my house. When you are entering the house, you can simply say, I am going inside the house. Assume now you are inside the house, you can say, I am in the house. Now say you are going away from the house, you simply say, I am going out of the house. And say you are selling the house, say you are telling, I am selling the house, now it doesn't belong to me, they have taken away from me. So likewise, different grammatical terms are there for you to talk about it, think about it, explain about it. These are necessary. So our English teacher is also there, no? Right. Anyway, now say when we consider the house, so immediately now say for example, once you look at the house, say it is pretty old and almost like going to collapse, and once you see it, probably you start thinking about it. I have to repair it, and say you are the owner, or you are the housekeeper or the householder, and you may have to think about it, and you have to repair it, you have to apply for a loan, and you already have applied a loan, and now you have to pay it off. So many issues are there related to the house, and time to time people get into different situations with respect to the house. What all this means is that when you see the house, it promotes thinking. So when you see the house, probably it can promote thinking. Particularly say when you are going to enter the house, say someone has blocked it, a vehicle being parked in front of the gate, or someone has put a new fence while you are at Kalalgoda. Someone had forcefully taken it. Anything can happen. So if it happened once you go home, so what happened to you? You start recognizing, this is my house. How the hell this fellow has taken my house? So now you start thinking, right? You start hating that person, and you start quarreling with him, and you now call the police talking, okay, someone has forcefully taken my house. And now you start thinking and panicking and all that. Now related to the house, there is a lot of conceiving. The term conceiving is particularly used here because there is a person who belongs it. The house is there, but there is an owner to that house. Who is the owner? Myself. I am the owner. I am the owner of the house. So when you approach the house, so you start thinking because someone has acquired that house forcefully, for example. And you being the owner, you being panicked, you start thinking, you being shocked, and you may start calling the police, and you start talking to other neighbors what has happened. So you are in a really panic situation. Now, let me come to the sutta now. Pataving patavito sanjanati. Now typically, now let's take an example of Patavi as this house. And once you saw the house, you simply recognize it as, this is my house. Pataving patavito sanyatva pataving manyati. And once you ignorantly perceive like this, you are tempted to conceive about it. Conceiving, manyana, particularly mean that there is a person, there is a self, and self-centered thinking. Self-centered thinking. There is a person, this is I am here, and I-based thinking. Self-centered thinking is typically called as conceiving or the manyana. Because from our childhood, we were introduced telling that there is a person, right? Your mother, your father, your, say, kindergarten teacher, your, say, first grade teacher, the other teachers, everybody introduced, okay, you are Kamal, you are Kamal. Kamal has a house, Kamal has mother, Kamal has father, and you are Kamal. So you have become someone, you are the Kamal, you are a person. Say Kamal is a male. Okay, now Kamal has a house, this is Kamal's house. And assume that you are the Kamal. So Kamal having a self, a personality, after seeing the house, now what happened? That house being acquired forcefully by someone, now what happened to you? You start thinking, you start panicking, you start going through some lot of troubles because you become trembled. What's going on now? So when I was coming to Kalalgoda, nothing was there, but now after going there, someone has forcefully acquired it. They already has built a fence. Will it happen today? Don't know. So if it happens now, you start thinking about it. Because it's my house. And patavim patavito sanjanati, patavim patavito sanyatta, pataviya manyati, patavim meti manyati, patavito manyati. So different examples are given here in this Mulapariyaya Sutta. How you start panicking, how you start thinking, I-centered thinking, self-centered thinking happens at different occasions with respect to this house. I am taking house as an example. And pataving abhinandati. And you are, maybe if it is a beautiful house, you are delighted about it. And if it's a really ugly, old kind of a house, you feel ashamed of it. Anyway, with respect to it, you have some relationship. You are very close to it, you are adhered to it, you are grasping it, this is my house. And what is the reason? Apariññātaṃ tassāti vadāmi. Not fully understanding. Now all these proliferations, all this obsessive thinking, all this conceiving, too much overthinking, all this happens because you didn't fully understand. So that's the explanation, kind of a reason that Buddha is telling here. You didn't fully understand because you have introduced to this typical conventional terminology from your childhood. So this is what we were reinforcing all this day. From our childhood, so we are introduced to the world by our parents, our teachers, telling, okay, you are Kamal, you are someone, you are a boy, you are a good boy, and your house is here, I am your mother, I am your father, this is your sister, this is your brother. So you are made a person, you are a person. So you are a person. And this person now has a house, and say you are the owner now, and someone is taken it by force, and you start thinking, immediately the I is so threatened, you are fully frightened, what's going on, where am I going to stay now, because someone has taken my house. So you start really panicking. And this is how typically the I-based, the self-centered thinking makes us so bound to this personality, or what we call the personality view, Sakkaya Ditthi. So the further and further, our education, our parents, our teachers, our friends, everybody confirms that there is a person. This is how we operate conventionally, and we accept it. We think that is the truth. Okay, so that is related to this Patavi. Now say, if we take another example, say you are seeing someone. Or let's take a different one. We already see the house, no? We'll take a song. Recently, Priya Suryasena has passed away. Now you are listening to one of his songs, a beautiful song. So who is singing that song? Priya Suryasena. Priya Suryasena is singing the song. So assume that it's a beautiful song and you are on the way back home from Kalalgoda. You happen to listen to the song. It is so beautiful. And you start listening to it slowly. You start admiring it. You slowly get into the content. You start murmuring it. You start singing it. Might end up with even an accident. Because while you are driving, you are trying to sing. All that can happen because you are so delighted in it. That song is so beautiful. So you are being attracted to it, completely absorbed to it. You can even say dance in according to the song. Everything can happen. This is how naturally things are happening. Say you start knowing the little words, and then slowly you start interesting about it. Slowly you are murmuring it, singing it, maybe even dancing it. So this is how we being completely taken away by the song. And the song belongs to someone. Assume that you are the Priya Suryasena. Say you are also really a good singer, and say your song being broadcast by TV corporation or whatever, and then what happened to you? This is my song. Then how you are relating to it? This is my song. I sang it on this date, to this orchestra, on this occasion. So I am the owner of this song. And say someone has done a cover song to that. What happened to you? Without your permission. What happened to you now? So while on the way to Kalalgoda, on the way back to your home, you happen to listen to your own song, but sang by someone else, without your knowledge, without your permission. What happened to you now? You start hating and you start complaining, and you want to write down, you want to complain, and you're thinking about, oh, this is my song. Who the hell going to sing like this, and where this country is going ahead, and do they have any intellectual rights, blah blah blah. I definitely have talked to this person. I have to find this broadcasting corporation who has broadcast it without my permission. I am the owner. If Dilhara was here, we can ask. So she used to act like this more than me. So anyway, so this is how even when we are hearing a song, if it belongs to you, and if you have so kind of a possession to it, kind of possessive attachment to it, and this is how we are behaving. But if we are looking from another angle, it's a kind of a sound. Song is nothing but a series of sounds. But we can't look at it from that angle. But it is my song. I sang it on this date. It belongs to me. And now this fellow, this idiot, is now singing it without my permission. Now, a lot of thinking can happen. You become frustrated. You become really angry. And this is how, when you are hearing something, this is how the typical approach that we are taking. So I am taking an example of a song. Say someone is blaming you. Same approach. Someone is blaming you. There is someone who is blaming and he is criticizing, and there is someone here, this is you, and he is making wrong comment about you, bad comment about you, insulting you. blaming you. So, two persons are involved. You are one person, there is another person on the other side, he is blaming. So, this is how we interpret. This is how we learn, this is how we communicate in the typical worldly sense. Anything else? I mean, anything apart from this kind of a terminology? Say, now this is what we are trying to confirm. So everybody has to have this kind of a rule, and the songs have to have a proprietor and owner, and it has to be respected. House has to have an owner, it has to be respected. There's a proper deed is there. So we are trying to formalize the things, regularize the things, so that it belongs to you. There is no one to cheat it, fraud it. So we are putting so much of different rules and regulations to formalize everything, so that everybody is happy. Because you are a person, he is also a person. He is not trying to claim, disclaim this and that. So this is how the whole conventional world is situated like. Whole conventional world is functioning like. Anything else that you can think out of this conventional framework? So I'm just giving 2 examples, by the way, but you need to expand it to many other things. You can see things, you can hear sounds and stuff. You can smell different smells coming from the flowers and etc. You can taste many different tastes. You can cognize many different objects, thoughts, etc. And say different categories of people are there. Human beings are there, heavenly beings are there, and maybe Brahma beings are there. And many areas are there. Now we are known to many areas. Now this actually Mulapariyaya Sutta giving 24 examples actually. So Buddha analyzed it comprehensively. I am taking a glimpse of it. Buddha analyzed at taking different cross sections actually. Now say different solid parts, different liquid parts, different airy parts, fiery parts, and what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, what you cognize through the mind. So those has taken, and again the typical other heavenly level realms, say different godly heavenly realms he has taken as examples. Now say for example, you are introduced to a heavenly realm. Say all of a sudden you are going to a temple, and on the way back a really beautiful person with a lot of ornaments and kind of a splendor in around him and making a really beautiful sound and coming closer to you. Probably you might recognize him as, he's a person coming from the Thavatinsa because of my merit power. Probably he came to bless me. Probably. You can recognize, this is a person coming from the Thavatinsa Deva realm. So because we are introduced to these kind of different Deva realms also. So anyway, like that we are introduced to different world systems, and probably an alien can come. Who knows? Because we are introduced to alien worlds also with a little face and alien look. It's there. You can probably on the way you might meet even an alien. So when we are known to all these, so we fixate them, we give names to them, we label them, and then we can talk about them, we can communicate about them. And now we have a president, we have a prime minister, and this is how we name them, and we know who he is, and when you on the way assume that he is meeting you. He has come to some occasion and you meet the president. You can recognize, this is my president, my newly elected president. You can easily recognize, right? So there's a president. So can you think anything out of this kind of a framework? So this is how we are. Still I am talking. about the typical conventional world what we have established. As human beings, we have put names, we have put labels, we have introduced languages, we have introduced grammar to explain, to communicate. This is our world, where we are living, how we are talking, how we are interacting, how we are communicating among each other. So this is the established phenomena, system that we are adhere to, and we accept it is the truth, it is the correct thing. Okay. Now this is basically there are 24 examples Buddha has taken, but I am taking only a little just to explain it. And now, say for example, someone is thinking about his, say, son. And if Buddha read your mind, he can simply know that you are thinking about your son. It is known to him. You got the point? Say you are thinking about your son, and if Buddha wants to know what you are thinking, so he can simply read and he can know, okay, you are thinking about your son. At that level he can know. Say you are seeing your house and you felt that it's being taken away, and say you are being panicked, and Buddha can know, okay, how it has happened, because this fellow has identified his house and now it was taken away. To that very superficial level or the conventional level, he can easily understand. So how our minds are typically operating, how these worldly beings are taking things, how they are considering things, that easily Buddha can understand. So all what I have explained so far are attributed to the worldly way of thinking, worldly way of communicating, worldly way of handling things. So we as human beings, we are born to this world, we are introduced to these conventions, to these languages, etc., grammar, etc. Those are already established, human beings have taken it, and that is being taught to me, and I am supposed to learn it, I am using it. Now I am in this world now, and if I am handling things in a particular way, Buddha can know that if he want to know. Okay, now say for example you are coming to Kalalgoda and trying to do some walking practice, and as much as possible you are simplifying your focus. So many thoughts are coming, what you have here, what you learn, what you have read, what you have seen. Many thoughts are coming, but now you are supposed not to pay attention to them. As much as possible you are supposed to pay attention to this sensation. That is what you are supposed to do. So many thoughts are coming and many scenes are happening in the sense you can see different people, but you are not supposed to think about them. You are not supposed to recognize them as such and think about them. Rather, you are supposed to keep your attention on the sensation. Agreed? So you are simply walking from this end to the other end. You can feel certain sensations while others are also walking, but you are not supposed to think about them. You are not supposed to remember about your past incidents. You are not supposed to think about the future. As much as possible, you are supposed to keep your attention to the sensation. This is what you are supposed to do. So what are we doing? So in a way, we are little going against that conventional way of handling things. Typically, conventionally, what people ask us to do, when you see your brother, your father, your mother, your son, daughter, you are supposed to recognize him, greet him, talk to him, think about him. This is my mother, this is my father, this is my daughter. Handle things in the conventional way, think about it and all that. This is what we are supposed to do, typically what we do. Now what are you doing? As much as possible you are stopping that, preventing that, keeping your attention to yourself and keeping your attention particularly to that particular sensation which is touching the ground. Say your foot is touching the ground and you feel hardness and you are keeping your attention there. Agreed? So as much as possible you are preventing all that garbage come into your mind. All that learned information you are supposed to take off. You have to unlearn the things in a way. All learned information, now you have to unlearn. At least say for during this time, while you are walking, you are not supposed to talk, think, pay attention to those learned information, what you are being taught so far. Instead, as much as possible, connect to the direct touch. You are directly knowing now. Not even using any language. Say when your foot touches the ground, in order to know the hardness of the ground, do you need a language? How simple things are, isn't it? Do you need a language to know the hardness? You don't need. Do you want to pass an exam, say MSc, BSc, RSc, MSc, to know the hardness? You don't need. You can directly know it. But you need certain attention, you need certain mindfulness, careful attention, then you can precisely know it. You can precisely know the hardness. Similarly, the softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, maybe the lightness. So I am going to the very primary characteristics now. The primary characteristics, elementary characteristics to know, you don't need even a language. You don't need even to be taught to know it, because you can directly know it immediately. Immediately you can know it. But you are not supposed to think about it. You are not supposed to think about it. Rather, you are directly knowing it right now at this very moment, instantaneously. Right now, immediately, you are knowing it, directly knowing it. Now, assume now you are successful. Say you are directly knowing it immediately, spontaneously, without complicating things. Next step also, you are touching the ground. You are knowing exactly what is there, directly knowing it, not even labeling it. You are not taking any conceptual stuff to the here. Let's take to that level. No concepts at all. You are directly knowing it. Without concepts, you can't think. Now we are keeping all the concepts away. That means you can't think. If we are strictly speaking, if you have to think, you need concepts. Right now, you are supposed to directly know without involving any concepts. That means you have to stop thinking. You can't directly know if you are introducing concepts. So you can know directly, but you don't need concepts. You can know things directly, you don't need to think, and you can maintain a silent mind. So while walking, suppose that you are coming to a level, your mind is utterly silent, no thoughts even, but you are directly knowing. Your foot is touching the ground, you can feel hardness, and you don't need to think whether hardness belongs to Patavi Dhatu. Those are nonsense. You don't need to map all that. That is learned information. Forget about it. You can directly know there is hardness. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can recognize it. Hardness is merely hardness. You can feel. You can touch it. You can sense it. Okay, hardness is hardness. Now, if you want to write a record, write a report, probably you need words. You need to explain. You need to communicate. Again, you need the concepts. But during the time that you are really experiencing it, you don't need even a word. You don't need even a thought to know it. You can directly know it. Suppose that you are doing it for some time, and more you are knowing like that. Now you are learning a different language. It doesn't have letters, it doesn't have words, it doesn't have grammar. But you can directly know, isn't it? You are learning a different language. That's why very beautifully Most Venerable Maharashi Jnanarama Thero has mentioned, the yogi has to know the language of the elements. Dhatunge bhashava yogavacharya igenagata iti. The yogi is supposed to learn the language of the elements. They are not talking in English, they are not talking in Sinhala, they are talking through direct characteristics. Say Patavi Dhatu, if it is present, it will indicate through hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness. If the heat element is there, it will indicate its presence using the heat or the cold. Say if there is the presence of the, say, air element, it will indicate its presence using vibrations, movements. If there is the water available there, the water element, it will indicate its presence using kind of a fluidity, flowing, or kind of a cohesion. Now we are going to the very basic fundamental characteristics now. Basic fundamental characteristics of the whole physicality. Can you connect to that? We all can. We all can. So we all have that, but on top of that we had put a lot of other information, and we have introduced so many names, labels, colors, shapes, and we have complicated the things unbelievable way. We have complicated things. Now it's very difficult to go to the root. We have lost the root. We have lost our footing, the fundamentals, and we are lost in the conventions, complications, complexities. And our mind can't go to the root. Our mind can't go to the basics, the simplicity. We have lost the simplicity. So basically, the meditation, in a way, help us to come back, return back, again establish back in the basics, back in the fundamentals, and with a very quiet mind, kind of an innocent mind, a beginner's mind, not a complicated mind, but a very beginner's mind, a very soft, gentle, relaxed, empty kind of a mind. So we are directly touching the earth, maybe, touching the softness, hardness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness, vibrations, movements. So these are the very basic fundamental characteristics of the physical world. Suppose now you are practicing like that. You are learning how to be with it, how to know it. More and more, more and more, more and more you are practicing that, practicing that. During that time, say you are doing it for 1 hour, well connected with that basic fundamental elementary characteristics. All this time, suppose you have no thoughts. If there are no thoughts, where are you? You probably recognize there is no I. Even though the experience is there, I couldn't feel the presence of I, presence of myself during this whole hour. For yourself to be present, concepts are fairly essential. You have to think. Can you feel yourself without thinking? When your mind is not thinking, can you feel strong presence of yourself? So these are interesting questions. Ask yourself, test it. Can you feel strongly about the presence of yourself without thoughts? Ask yourself. Do it and see. Do it and see, and try to try to strongly sense yourself without thinking, if possible. It's impossible actually. So thoughts are essential factor to confirm there is a self, to strongly feel that there is a self. So if there are no thoughts, almost like you disappear. Suppose during this 1 hour, say you are very carefully, really mindfully, precisely, say you are experiencing all these little things, all these elementary characteristics. Assume that there were no thoughts, then probably you might step out, assume now the things are over, and the gong was rang, you're supposed to come to the meditation hall, and you are still walking, say, for example, and now the Ilhara come and knock to you, you're supposed to go there and you're supposed to sit there. Now again the I is coming out. Am I supposed to go there? Oh, sorry. I'm going there. Now I is there. Because you have done something wrong, and okay, now you came out of that typical, that where you were. Now again you are in Kalalgoda and you are in the retreat and you are supposed to participate the Dhamma sermon. You are supposed to come here, but you were in the walking path. Now you have done something wrong. Oh, I'm sorry. Please apologize me. I'm sorry. Now again the conventional I is there. All that time, 1 hour, no I. So it's a beautiful time, right? You have spent 1 hour practicing so diligently, almost like no thoughts. You are well connected to the elements and you felt it. No thoughts, no I. Very beautiful. Well connected. So assume that you are practicing like this for further and further. And maybe if you are so clever, probably you can understand whatever the elements that you have experienced, assume those are internal elements, and what is external also very similar. Internal elements and external elements has no any demarcation. The demarcation is some kind of a boundary that we humans have introduced. There is no such boundary to the elements. Elements are merely elements. Either internal, either external, either belong to a male body, either belong to a female body, all are nonsense. Actually, elements are merely elements. All this physical realm, all this world system are merely elements. So if you think like, or rather if you know like that, do you have kind of an attachment? Very difficult to have an attachment, because you see everywhere merely elements. Everywhere merely elements. And if you go to another level, say you see they are very quickly coming and going, quickly arising and passing, quickly arising and passing, quickly arising and passing away. We are going to another level. If you know like that, your mind can't grasp. For our minds to grasp, it has to be compact. It has to be compact, it has to be given a traditional or conventional name, and we humans have attributed a task, a value, value in the sense, a monetary value to it. Then we can easily grasp. But if we are directly knowing the elements, we can't grasp, because there is no object. Kind of a physical object is now known as elements. And you also, not being a person, you are simply experiencing while you are walking. It is not a person walking, but say elements are known, and everywhere are merely elements, and there is nothing to grasp. And your mind slowly starts giving up. You become more and more dispassionate. And there may be instance that the mind has totally given it up. No grasping at all. Kind of an eye-opening. Because at that time, nothing is there in the mind. Let's forget about the feelings, perceptions, thoughts. Forget about it for the moment. Say, the whole physical realm you are not grasping. Can it happen? Can it happen to you while you are in the walking? So why it is not happening? Let's talk in that way. Why it is not happening? It's not happening because we are adding so much of garbage. We are adding so much of information. We can't go to the root. We have complicated the things. So we have added so many unnecessary stuff to the direct experience. We have, say, kind of polluted it. We are always trying to pollute our direct experience with a lot of learned information. So that's why I typically mention, during the meditation, don't be an expert, rather be a beginner. Beginner's mind. Beginner's mind, Zen mind. A famous book by Sunyuru Suzuki, a Zen teacher. Beginner's mind, Zen mind. He didn't say Zen mind is an expert's mind. Rather, he mentioned Zen mind is a beginner's mind. So we as meditators, we have to maintain such a innocent beginner's mind. Because the expert know everything. Typically experts know everything. They think a lot. They imagine a lot. A lot of information is stored in their head. Very big head. Big-headed. A lot of information are there. But the beginner, an innocent child, he is simply very happy. He is just smiling, laughing and, playing. So what happened to us? We also like that, right? So as infants, we were quite happy. Assume that next house is a Tamil house. So you are a Buddhist family. Next house is a Tamil family, a Hindu family. And say you are born as a kid. They are also there as a kid. Is there any restriction for you to play among both of you? Any issues? Say there's a little park in front and you also go there to play. That kid also go there to play. No issues, right? You also can play with him. Assume that you are a girl and he is a boy. And say you can have a good playful activity, a little game, and you are playing, so you are happy and you are laughing and all this thing. And say you come to your house, she go to her house. And so beautiful, our young age. And now say, for example, you are introduced to other, now you are in the O levels and you are now recognized in different religions, different nationalities, and you are a Sinhalese Buddhist, now she's a Tamil Hindu girl, and Sinhalese Buddhist is not supposed to have an affair with the Hindu Tamil girl. You are introduced it, isn't it? We are introduced to that cultural kind of demarcations, cultural divisions. But we as little kids, did we have that? We didn't. So which one is correct? Which one is if now as adults, if we think properly, so we actually have complicated the whole thing. We have forgotten the basic humanity and we have imposed so much of other conventional stuff coming from cultural upbringing, all our traditions and all our language nonsense. And now things have become so and so complicated. Now we have restrictions, now we have a lot of, kind of rivalries. Many things are there. Now you can't talk to her. Now you can't have an affair. Now you can't play with her like as before. So this is how everything has happened like this. So we are born as a very innocent human beings, but we have lost that innocence. We have lost that very primary, basic, fundamental humanism. We have gone to very far, almost like now impossible to come back. So the Vipassana actually help us to again unlearn all this garbage, de-learn all this garbage, remove all this garbage, and again connect with the basics. Again coming back to the fundamentals, direct knowledge. Okay, you just be with hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, heaviness, lightness, vibrations, heat, cold. So there you are no one. While you are experiencing that, you being no one. You are not at Kalalgoda, you are not a man, a woman. That is irrelevant. You are directly with that direct connection, direct experience. So if you are experiencing like that, at least for a while, you start looking back. You start kind of introspecting about what has happened to you. So how things have complicated, how things have become fully complex, tangled, and what happened to you. At least time to time you start enjoying that inner silence, that very simplicity. And it is a profound simplicity. Don't think that you are making yourself mad, or that you go against the kind of the society, but you are connected with the very basics where we were. And that is the root. So that root is so beautiful. That root is the fundamentals, on top of which that we have complicated things. And once we are there, so we felt this is the truth. This is this complicated, conventional, say, nationalities, religions, names, labels, rules, regulations, demarcations, country demarcations, boundaries. So we think, okay, this is the truth, this is the reality. We can't think out of that. But the Vipassana helps us to go back to the roots again, the fundamentals again, with a very simplicity, kind of an innocence, maintaining a fairly quiet mind. So, suppose that someone has such kind of an experience. Now, say you are looking at the house. Now I am taking to the old example. Now you are looking at the house while you are going back. It's being acquired by someone. Acquired by someone. A house being acquired by someone. Probably you might start panicking. Even though you had this kind of a very powerful experience, once you go there, if it happened, you also feel, my goodness, what's going wrong? And probably you might remember kind of an experience I had. I was not there, nobody was there. So powerful, so beautiful. And probably you try to convince you, okay, don't worry, don't think too much. Let's find a solution later. Calm down yourself. Don't be panicked. Don't cry. Don't be angry. So you are calming down yourself, calming down. Because you are coming from a fairly strong experience, happened here, knowing everything is kind of an illusion. Everything is almost like stopped during that time. There is no presence of I. Now all of a sudden I is trying to pop up. Now you are calming down yourself. Oh, don't worry, calm down yourself. Don't be angry. We'll sort it out. Calm down. Again, assume that you are trying to calm down and make yourself quiet. Again, the silence is established. Can you do that? So this is what typically happens to us. Even though we have experienced kind of a silence, complete absence of the proliferation, so when an incident happens, again we are being triggered. Again we get into the panic situation. Again we feel frustrated. Again we feel frightened. But the experience, that beautiful, strong experience, inviting you, why don't you calm you down? Just relax, calm down. Let's find a solution. So don't worry, don't panic. Let's calm down, relax. So calming down. So the trainee, therefore Buddha introduced, Yopiso bhikkave bhikkhu seko apamatta manaso anuttarang yoga kemam patte mano viharati. Seko, he is a trainee, apatta manaso, he hasn't yet come to the full understanding. Yoga kemam patte mano viharati. So he is targeting the complete deliverance, by the way. He hasn't achieved it fully yet, but he is targeting the complete deliverance. He is a trainee. Sopi patavim patavito abhijanati. So there the Buddha changed the word. Previously the typical worldly person, uninstructed, untaught, ordinary being, Buddha mentioned patavito sanjanati. Here Buddha mentioned pataving pativito abhijanati. So he knew the experience as kind of a direct experience. He can know things directly. Abhijanati. But still, pataving patavito abhinyaya pataving ma manyi. In case the typical conventional, the defiled states are still promoting you to think, promoting you to panic, promoting you to complicate the things, now you are calming down yourself, relaxing yourself, again training yourself, restraining yourself. Okay, calm down, relax, don't worry. Let's stop thinking now. Again, be silent. So you are, again training yourself, restraining yourself. Because you had some powerful experience about the reality. You haven't perfected it yet. But at least you have experienced some calmness, complete relaxation, complete silence. A completely different picture of which is completely different from the typical conventional level. You knew something is different available, which was accessible to me, at least for some time. But now this fool still trying to tempt me to go back to this conventional level. So you are trying to establish mindfulness again. Trying to invite that wisdom again, which was little disturbed because of the incident. So this is how Buddha is explaining, how a trainee is further restraining himself. Because the mind might tempt to think, mind might tempt to proliferate, mind might tempt to conceive again, thinking that there is a self here, there is my house is taken by someone, it's my house. So this is a conventional way of thinking. It might again come up, but you are calming yourself down. Okay, calm down, relax. Don't think too much. Let's find a solution tomorrow. Let's calm down. Something like that. So you are reducing the unnecessary thinking, panicking, frustrations. Say, get into arguments immediately, get into the fighting, quarreling, all that. Because you had some powerful experience in a kind of a more strong way. In a fairly strong way, you had that powerful experience. Okay, you are now calming down yourself, restraining yourself. So, and to that trainee, how he is experiencing during that direct experience, that is also known by the Buddha. How he is directly knowing things now. At its very root level, fundamental level, very basic level, elementary level, that is also known by the Buddha. Now how he is operating at this given incident, that is also known by the Buddha. And the Arahant, later we'll discuss maybe next month. It's taking really time. And so powerful. And how Buddha is explaining this typical mundane, ordinary, uninstructed worldling, how he is handling things, how he is thinking, how he is perceiving about the world. That also he can know, the Buddha can know. And similarly, the trainee, how he is further training himself, further restraining himself, that also he can know, the Buddha can know. Okay, with that we'll stop here. Thank you very much for attentive listening. And don't think. Okay. Today the breakfast donors offer merits for their departed relatives and friends and all those who are in need of merits. And today lunch dana was offered by a regular yogi to invoke blessings to all her past relatives. May the merits accrued be helpful to progress in the path to all of the yogis in Kalalgoda. And we are wishing a speedy recovery to Tamara, Veerasingha's husband, who is critically ill. May he get well soon. Okay, these are the little notes which are available to share the merits. And now I invite Venerable Dhammalankara to do the formal sharing as well as the traditional sharing.